Mike Tyson found Islam in a prison cell and it saved his life. Malcolm X discovered Islam as a criminal and became a legend. Dave Chappelle, Muhammad Ali, Sinead O'Connor, Cat Stevens. They all turned to Islam when everything fell apart. But here's what nobody understands. They didn't just randomly pick Islam. There's something specific about this religion that pulls people in during their darkest moments. Dave Chappelle was at the peak of his career when he did something that shocked the entertainment industry. He walked away from a $50 million contract and disappeared. The media went crazy trying to figure out what happened. But Dave wasn't just walking away from money. He was walking away from a version of himself that was destroying him from the inside. The pressure and constant spotlight had pushed him to a breaking point where he couldn't recognize who he was anymore. Dave found himself completely isolated in his success, surrounded by people who only cared about what he could do for them, not who he actually was. In that isolation, he discovered Islam, and it offered him real brotherhood.
You're a Muslim?
I am.
When did you become Muslim?
When I was 17.
What were the circumstances?
I don't know, it was like believing in God.
The 5 daily prayers connected Dave to millions of people around the world doing the exact same thing. He had a community that cared about his soul, not his bank account. People who would stand by him whether he was making millions or nothing. But Dave's discovery of community was just the beginning of something even more powerful that Mike Tyson found in the darkest place imaginable. Mike Tyson was sitting in a prison cell, his career destroyed, his reputation in ruins. The man who once struck fear into heavyweight champions was now just another inmate trying to survive each day. Prison broke Mike in ways no opponent ever could. Years of violence and poor decisions had led him to this concrete box where his own judgment had failed him completely. But in that cell, Mike discovered something that would save his life.
My faith is to God, and when I die, I'm gonna die a Muslim. It's just who I am as a person. I use God in all aspects to protect me, to love me, to allow me to love and have compassion. And without me giving respect to God's existence, then I'm a fool.
Islam gave him what his chaotic mind desperately needed: unshakable structure. 5 times a day, no matter how violent or unpredictable prison became, he had to stop and pray. Those prayer times became non-negotiable anchors in complete uncertainty. The ritual washing, precise movements, exact words, it all created order when everything else was chaos. Islam provided the framework he needed to rebuild himself from the ground up. This same need for structure in chaos is what gave one of history's most influential thinkers the power to completely reinvent himself while locked in his own prison cell. Malcolm Little was a street hustler and thief who seemed destined for an early grave or life behind bars. When he ended up in prison, everyone wrote him off as just another criminal. But something extraordinary happened during those 6 years. Malcolm discovered Islam, and it completely rewrote his identity. The religion taught him something revolutionary. Your past doesn't define your future. Islam gave Malcolm the ability to become someone entirely new.
Are you still a Muslim yourself?
Oh yes, I'm a Muslim. I believe in the religion of Islam, which believes in brotherhood, complete brotherhood of all people.
He wasn't stuck being Malcolm Little the criminal forever. The broken version of himself wasn't the real him. That was just someone lost in darkness. Now he followed the truth. Islam provided Malcolm with purpose bigger than himself and moral certainty to pursue it. He went from thinking about his next hustle to dedicating his life to fighting injustice and educating people about their worth. But finding new identity is just the beginning. Sometimes Islam demands you sacrifice everything, just like the greatest boxer discovered. Muhammad Ali was on top of the world. Heavyweight champion, young, rich, famous, and seemingly unstoppable. Then the government told him to fight in Vietnam, and Ali said no. "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong," Ali declared. This was about a man whose Islamic faith had given him something more valuable than any championship: unshakable moral certainty. Islam had given Ali clear moral guidelines that didn't change based on what was convenient or profitable. When the world told him one thing but his faith told him another, he chose divine authority over human authority. Ali knew exactly what saying no would cost him. They stripped his title, banned him from boxing during his prime years, and threatened prison. He lost millions in years he could never get back. But Ali chose eternal principles over temporary success. This kind of conviction can seem impossible, especially when you're drowning in public scrutiny like one Irish singer discovered. Sinead O'Connor was falling apart in front of the entire world. The media attacked her relentlessly. Her personal life was chaos, and she struggled with mental health issues that seemed to worsen every day. For years, Sinead felt like she was drowning. The constant criticism, pressure, internal battles, it all became too much. She tried different things to find peace, but nothing worked. The pain kept getting deeper. Then Sinead discovered Islam, and for the first time in years, she found something that actually helped.
The word revert, it refers to the idea that if you were to study the Quran, you would realize that you were a Muslim all your life and you didn't realize it.
It's just waiting to happen to you.
That's what happened to me.
The religion didn't promise to make problems disappear overnight, but it gave her something more valuable: knowledge that her suffering had meaning and purpose. Islam taught Sinead that when human justice fails, divine justice remains. The 5 daily prayers gave her regular breaks from mental chaos, and the community showed her she wasn't alone. But sometimes the path to Islam isn't through trauma. Sometimes it's through a brush with death itself. Cat Stevens was living the rock star dream. Hit songs, sold-out concerts, money, fame, everything a young musician could want. Then, while swimming off Malibu, he nearly drowned. As waves pulled him under, something changed forever. That near-death experience shattered Cat's worldview. All the things he thought mattered, charts, money, celebrity lifestyle, suddenly seemed empty. He realized he'd been chasing things that could never satisfy his soul's deeper hunger. Cat started searching for real meaning, and that search led him to Islam.
From the very beginning, it's striking. From the very beginning, it begins in the name of Allah, God, the Lord of the universe. Well, when you come to a statement like that, immediately you're struck. So I think that from that moment, of course, we all look at books, and when we're trained to look at books and look for authors, even the Bible. 1,000 authors, I don't know how many, maybe you know how many authors there are, but I mean, so many have put their hand into writing the Bible. But in the Quran, of course, you don't see, that doesn't say written by, and then you say, and then you find that it's Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It's actually in the name of Allah, it's coming from God.
The religion showed him there was something far more important than being a rock star, a connection to something eternal. Islam gave Cat moral certainty to walk away from everything he'd built. He changed his name to Yusuf Islam and dedicated his life to serving Allah instead of his ego. Real peace came from aligning his life with something greater than himself. All these stories point to something deeper about why Islam specifically appeals to people during their darkest moments. Here's what all these celebrities discovered that most people miss. When your life falls apart, you don't just need any religion. You need a system that addresses every aspect of human crisis. When everything around you becomes dangerous and chaotic, your mind desperately craves 3 things: order, certainty, and belonging. Most belief systems only provide 1 or 2 of these elements. Islam provides all 3 simultaneously. The 5 daily prayers create predictable structure when everything else is unpredictable. Clear moral guidelines provide certainty when you can't trust your own judgment. A global community of believers provides instant belonging when you're isolated. But here's what makes Islam unique. It also offers complete identity transformation. Unlike systems that try to fix your current self, Islam teaches that you can become someone entirely new. Your past mistakes don't define your future potential. Finally, Islam addresses the deepest human need during crisis, the need for divine justice. When earthly systems fail you, when powerful people escape consequences, when good people suffer unfairly, Islam promises that divine justice will ultimately prevail. This framework explains why these 6 very different people all found the same solution during their darkest moments. 6 celebrities. 6 rock-bottom moments, 1 unexpected answer. When Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million, when Mike Tyson sat in that prison cell, when Malcolm X faced his criminal past, when Muhammad Ali risked everything, when Sinead O'Connor battled her demons, when Cat Stevens nearly drowned, they all reached the same crossroads. They could stay broken, or they could choose complete transformation. Most people think change happens gradually. These 6 discovered it can happen in an instant. The moment you stop trying to fix your old life and start building an entirely new one. They all needed something that could hold them together when everything else fell apart. Something that could give them structure in chaos, community in isolation, and hope in despair. And for these 6 people, that something was Islam. Thank you for watching.